Like what you're seeing here, subscribe to this channel for more. What up guys, this is Monkey Figure Reviews. First of all, I would like to wish everyone Happy New Year and hope that 2020 will be an even better year for all of us. You can see in front of you today, we are going to talk about the pre-time skip 3 Admirals. They are really amazing figures, really cool, especially when displayed together. We're going to talk about all 3 of them in this single video, but before we get started, let's take a quick look at the boxes. This is the box for Aokiji. It says Marine Admiral Aokiji Kuzan, and we have an image of Aokiji here. At the top, we have our golden toy sticker to prove its authenticity. This figure was released in 2011, and even though it has been so long, from what I know, it is still readily available out there, and it is not too expensive. Generally, the design for the box is ice theme. Even the windows, the design of it, the colors, to suit Aokiji's devil fruit powers. In fact, the boxes for all the 3 Admirals, they try to do that. At the back, we have a full body image of Aokiji, so we can see what we are going to get. Now, all my Admirals are actually second-hand, and Aokiji actually was one of the ones in better condition. This is the box for Akainu. You can see my silver toy sticker here, and this figure was also released in 2011. Interestingly, we just had a re-release of this guy not too long ago, so he should be somewhat readily available out there, but also it's not too cheap because the re-release price is a lot more expensive from what I know, but it certainly brought down the price because previously it was just insane due to the high demand for this figure. And the design for this box once again is to suit the devil fruit powers of Akainu with all these magma volcanic images going on. You can see this is how he looks like, and full body image at the end. This is the top. The windows for this one is a little bit more simple compared to Aokiji. This is the box for Kizaru, and you can see my toy sticker here. This figure was released, the one I have was released in 2012, and similar to Akainu, he also had a re-release not too long back. I'm not sure which one came first, but situation is similar to what I say for Akainu. And overall design is light theme, laser light theme, I guess. Pretty much the same across the board. Windows are also a little bit more simple. This is the back view. Some poses you can put him in, and this is the top. Let's get the review rolling with Aokiji. So in front of you are all the pieces of this figure. So other than the pieces on the figure itself, we have an additional right hand which you can swap with this eye sword. We have sunglasses which you can put over his eyes, and also we have this base which I use it for Aokiji to give it extra support. But as you can see, it stands fine on its own even with the cape on, so that's an option if you do not like bases. The base itself is very neatly done. Right in the middle you have this light blue color, and around it is more of silver, in a sense that they're trying to have their icy effects once again. And you can see it says Justice Marine as well as the Marine logo and Aokiji Kuzan. Aokiji's head is on a ball joint, so you have a little bit of freedom to where you want him to face and also the angle. We have his glasses, really small piece here. You are supposed to allow him to wear it, but for some reason, I have no idea why, it is very difficult to put this on for my figure. I'm not sure if it's just mine, because there's just no place around the side of his eyes for the glasses to catch. And even when you can put it on, it seems very loose. This is the best I can do, and you can tell that the sides are not really catching onto anything. It's just getting stuck to some parts of the hair. I don't display him like this because I think he is more iconic with the eye mask, which is over here, and this thing goes onto his forehead. Unfortunately, you can't cover his eyes with this because that'll be funny, but same thing, you just kind of want to get it stuck to some parts to the side of the forehead, and if you don't, it will fall off very easily too, and you really don't want that because it's very small and you can easily lose the piece. Yeah, but just gotta make sure it sucks on. I think this will work. Okay, and don't touch it. The details on his outfit is rather simple but still nicely done. He is wearing a dark blue shirt underneath, followed by a white vest, and also this very simple yellow tie with a black cross in the middle. So I don't see any shading on this part of the arms, and also here is just a little bit around this area of the vest. I appreciate them trying to show a little bit of realism with the shading, and also little creases across the area. The blue buttons and also the buttonholes depicted with these dashes. The back of him is also like this, not too much to talk about. Shading around areas towards the lower half, and also where there are creases. The pants are rather similar in terms of the details, so nothing much to add on here. You can see for yourself the shading and creases where they put them. And for the shoes, they are painted with a glossy paint to give off a shiny and polished look, which is very clean and nice. Sort of fits Aokiji's dress style. Of course, the major parts of this figure is the eyes effect. So we have this kind of eyes shut thing. I have no idea what is this even, but it is to show that he's using his eyes powers from his right arm. So you just kind of snag it onto the forearm of Aokiji, his right forearm, and it just stays there. And generally, the design between the sword and this parts is very similar. They're very consistent in color. Just a little bit of shading in some areas is not very obvious compared to the filmsy P.O.P. This one obviously is a lot less detailed, but I am not going to complain because it is an old design, almost 9 years, okay, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And this hand itself just comes in one piece. Him holding the sword. You can see what I mean, that the color is rather consistent. Maybe it's a little bit more blue on the fist, but you just plug it in. Obviously, if you do not want to display him like this, you have his additional piece, his right hand. But why would anyone do that, right? Usually you just want them to be accessorized with all the cool stuff as much as possible. This is the cape for Aokiji, and I gotta say, across all of the Admirals, they are kind of pretty standard in quality and design. Just that for Aokiji, I think this part, whatever this is called, is painted with a shiny blue paint with a little bit of shading around both ends. Yeah, but generally it's always pretty nice and well done. Nothing to complain about and nothing special to praise. Of course, you have this this shoulder pads painted with a little bit of bronze color. This is the inside. It is also dark purplish, which is the standard color most of the time they used for the jackets. Let's continue with Akainu. And other than the pieces on the figure here, there are 4 additional arm parts which you can kind of swap with. But I personally think that this is the best way to display this figure. And also we have the base, so you can tell that this figure stands perfectly fine on its own. I just want to mention that when I first got Akainu and Kizaru, they were secondhand and they were in horrible condition because I think the previous owner smoked near to them, and over time there were just a lot of yellow stains and grey stains on the marine coats and also on this Debra Fruit magma effects. And wow, I had to really clean them out. But still, I think it had been a little bit damaged permanently. So when we talk about the figures, you might see certain parts that are, a little bit more apparent in the damages. This is the base for Akainu, and it's very similar to Aokiji's one. And you can see just this marine, the marine logo, and Akainu Sakazuki. The color is kind of transitioning from red, to maroon and towards the black around the perimeters, trying to fit the color scheme of Akainu. This is Akainu's face, and I don't really think that he looks like the source material in the manga, in the anime. I think his face is supposed to be a bit bigger and wider, more squarish. But over here, his face just looks the size of his head just looks a little bit too small, and he makes him look really skinny. But I won't complain because, I mean, back then the designs for P.O.Ps, they hardly ever really match the likeness of their characters 100%. So I don't think anyone complained back then too. It is still pretty good. What I really like is the expression they did on him, like those frowns, those arching eyebrows. Man, it just shows. I think they're really well done. It just shows how much anger and hate there is in this guy. Even the eyes, the wrinkles around his eyes. It just shows that this guy is such an unhappy person. I really like that. You know, the frown is absolutely amazing. You can see the details on his ears. His hair is very simple. Not a lot of details there. Short hair. Cap is also just kind of decently done. Nice details. No shading. Just some creases on the sides and the back. His outfit is a little bit more interesting than the one on Aokiji. A lot more details to talk about. And even just looking at his body, you can see his tattoo just peeking out from underneath his shirt. The printing on it is actually very crisp and clear. Pink color flowers with this little blue tattoo, blue part of the tattoo. Very crisp printing, similar to the flowers on his collar. So that's amazing. His body has a little bit of shading too, not too obvious, but certain areas around the lines or the muscles, it is darker than the rest. His outfit is tight. You can tell that from the creases they put on him. Very tight jacket. Buttons here are golden color. He has this flower on his left chest. And I think for the suit itself, minimal shading. Unless you talk about the transition on his arm here to his flaming hands. So the details on them are actually very nice. You can see what they're trying to do with the transition of the color from yellow, light yellow, darker yellow, orange, all the way to, you know, I think this is black by the time it reaches here. So really incredible, especially for a figure of that time, which explains why it is so popular. And the way they crafted the magma effect, just sort of burning and smoking towards the top, and the randomness of it, the swirls, the bubbles bubbling out, is very amazing. Similar for the other one here. You can just see how they look like. So you just kind of snag them onto the forearm, and if you have the coat on, it will just lean onto the coat to give it extra support. And these are the hands. It's just really flaming up, and even on it you can see the different colors they put. Some parts are darker, some parts are lighter, and very random design. Some parts of the magma is dripping downwards, some parts are bubbling up. Really incredible work of the arms, of the fist. I really like that. Just that mine looks a little bit dirty because of the condition left by the previous owner. The back of his jacket, it's also like this, and here I think you can see the transitioning clearer, more distinct from red to this orange color, from opaque to translucent. And his pants also, it's very similar, light shading, similar to the top of his jacket. And the shoes are also painted with glossy paints, and for this one I think there's more shading. Some parts are lighter compared to the Aokiji one. Overall, very clean and nice sculpting details. This is the coat for Akainu, and like I said, very similar, nothing much to talk about here. And over here the color is more of like rose gold, but it still fits into his color theme. And on the inside it is also purplish, just that it's a little bit lighter here compared to the Aokiji one. One major complaint I have of this figure is the marine coats and the way it holds onto the shoulders of Akainu. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like this or not, but you know, the form and the shape of the coats near the top here just seems to get wider over time. And for now, it still holds onto the shoulder, but I'm not sure if it will stand the test of time and you'll just keep getting wider and eventually falls off and can't hold onto it anymore. So that is an issue, and I'm not sure if this is fixed in the latest re-release. But for those of you considering to get this guy, this is a potential problem. That's something that I noticed, and I don't really like it because sometimes it just falls really easily, and I think it's partially due to the design and also the material used and the strength of this part over here. So if you do not want to display him like this, you have other options. You can also put him like this without the transitioning arms, or like this with his arms down, which in this case you can't put the magma effects. But I still think that this is the best way to put him in because it just shows the best parts of the figure together in display. Last but not least, we have my favorite Kizaru, and other than the pieces here, we have 5 additional arms and also an extra hand which we can swap around and play around with, and also the base itself. So Kizaru stands fine too. All the 3 Admirals stand fine on their own, just that it can be a little bit shaky, but overall it's still fine on its own like this. This is the base for Kizaru, and once again it's the same thing, just this marine logo and Kizaru Borsalino. The metal of the base is a darker yellow and it sort of gets lighter towards the side, and eventually it ends with this white border. Really nice to fit Kizaru's theme. This is Kizaru's face and I absolutely love it. I think the likeness here is a lot better than Akainu. Looks more like him. The distinct eyebrows, the droopy eyes. Crazy, his eyes are really droopy. The wrinkles, his mouth shape when he talks, he only lifts up one side of his lips. The beard and everything. Yeah, it's just very, very well done. The shades are glued on, by the way, so you can't really remove them. And the head is fixed position, unlike Aokiji, same as Akainu. And the hair is just like this, kind of like a simple black color with holes indented into it. This is the pose I leave him in, so it's a little bit difficult to see the details on the uniform, but from what I can see, not a lot of shading, very lightly in certain areas, and essentially it is just yellow stripes going up with this kind of like brown stripes, and the buttons are brown over here, the creases over here and there. Not a lot of shading. The details are okay because some of the lines actually it's a bit weird, like it can be like black, dark like black lines, and some of the parts it just disappear. Some areas like this it just doesn't finish, so it gets a bit weird and confusing sometimes, but it's not like very apparent and to the extent that it becomes an eyesore. It is still okay. It is pretty much the same throughout his whole suit, his whole outfit, even for the pants, it goes all the way down. And I think you can tell that just very minimal shading, very minimal for Kizaru here. I like his shoes, white color, really standout look. Also glossy white paint, and here the shading a little bit more apparent, and this kind of gold lace on it, very beautiful. I really like it a lot, and it's really cool because you can see. Well, let me do a zoom in. But if you were to look at the snail here, what is this called again? Or the Den Mushi. The details is very cool. They actually painted the snail up to the eyes and the mouth, so that's really cute. And I like that. I like that he's speaking towards the Den Mushi, and it's really cool pose. This is his transitioning arm, so it goes from solid arm to his light arm, and he's holding his light sword, which is very cool. I think most people would display him like this because holding his sword, because this is like the biggest and coolest accessory out of the whole set. And his wrist is actually rotatable to a certain extent, but you have to be very careful because it is very fragile. I heard that some parts of this sword actually gets broken inside the fist, and it's very difficult to remove. It's actually quite a very frequent problem. Yeah, but looking at the details, you can see it's getting translucent towards here, and some parts is more of a very light, almost grayish white color, and some parts is more yellow. So a little bit of variation on the color throughout the whole sword. And even this circular effect here, you can see gray, and some part is just clear and some part is just yellow. Really beautiful, and I like it a lot. This is his marine coat, and once again the same thing, just that over here we have a golden yellowish paint to fit his color theme. Overall the details, some shading along the creases, and on the inside once again it's also this light purplish color. Personally, I like to display Kizaru like this because it allows me to turn the sword upwards a little bit without it poking at other figures, but you can display him more conventionally like this with his arms straight out conjuring his light sword, or if you do not like the transitioning arms, you can also go for two solid arms. It is essentially the same. I didn't even take them out from the wrap because I prefer this arm so much more. Or like this, just talking into his Denden Mushi. Or like this, with his hands getting ready to throw some lasers. I forgot about it, but he also comes with like a brown hat, sort of like a fedora, and you can just put it on his head. I'm not sure if we have ever seen him wear this hat in the anime or manga, but I don't think so. So if you want him to just be as accurate as possible, then just take it away, don't put it there. Let's take a look at the height of the three Admirals without the bases. For Kizaru, he's around 26 cm, so around 10.25 inches. For Akainu, he's a little bit shorter than 26 cm, about 2 to 3 mm shorter. And for Aokiji, he's closer to 26.5 cm, so around 10.5 inches. If you want to add the base, just add about half a cm, about a 1/4 inch. Let's do a little bit of height comparison, and here we have Sailing Again version 2 Luffy, and you can see the Admirals are a lot taller than him, which is sort of the average height of a P.O.P character, because as we know, the Admirals are just really tall and huge characters, and unfortunately they can't really do a proper scale, so they just do that by making them a little bit taller than your average guy. This is Grandista Zoro, and you can see the Grandista scale is a lot bigger than a P.O.P, and it kind of wouldn't really match well with the P.O.P scale. This is Master Light's Best Edition Sanji, and it's around the same scale as your Master Stars piece, King of Artists, Flag Diamond Ship, G&G Glitter and Glamours, so they're all around there, and you can see how it compares with the Admirals. If you are not someone who is very particular about trying to show a little bit of height difference between characters, then I think this is actually quite a decent fit. How I will display the three Admirals is very simple. Essentially, you try to put them together as a trio because we usually see them as a group, and also that the individual color schemes match each other so well, and the individual display of their Devil Fruit powers just is much more unique and cool when you put them as a set together. Also, if you have Sengoku or Garp, you can do what I'm doing, put them behind, so you kind of recreate the scene at Marineford and show the hierarchy between the Admirals. I think this is a great scene. If not, if you're thinking how they look like individually, I think it is fine because they are just so badass and they have an aura about them, so you don't really have to worry about it. Alright, so that's all I have, guys. I think generally the quality, the sculpts of the Admirals are pretty well done, considering that it had been released so long ago. And if I had to choose one, I have to go with Kizaru. I like the color scheme of him, I like the sculpts, the likeness of his face, and also that I just think that overall, in terms of the details, it is a lot better, and he has a lot more accessories to play with. Now, I gotta say, I'm not sure in the future what is in store for us in terms of the Admirals. Aokiji, we already have the P.O.P Film Z, so if you're not thinking of getting this one, I think it's fine. Just go get the Film Z one. He looks absolutely amazing. For Sakazuki, I think probably we will be getting a Fleet Admiral version of him down the line. That is very likely. But Kizaru, I'm not so sure because essentially his outfit is more or less the same, just that he wears a turtleneck now, I think. So not a lot to play with on his side. Alright, let me know what you guys think about this Admirals. I would like to hear what all of you think. I mean, they are pretty old figures, and don't really compare them with latest releases from P.O.P MEGAHOUSE. You can't really match the shading and coloring nowadays. Alright, I'll see you guys very soon. Goodbye.